All right, strap in because UFC 316 is coming fast, and the main event is a rematch, just loaded with storylines. Merab Dvalishvili challenging Sean O'Malley, bantamweight title, Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, and this isn't just, any title fight. It's O'Malley trying to get that belt back. The one he lost to Merab just, back in September? Unanimous decision.
Exactly. And that first fight, well, it left a lot of people talking. This one feels like it has even more layers, maybe even more drama.
There's a ton of noise around it.
Absolutely. So our goal here in this deep dive is kind of cut through that noise. Let's look at the info we have, what it really tells us, understand the key things driving this whole narrative.
Right. We need to unpack the betting side, dig into these controversies, the injuries, how people even remember that first fight.
And maybe even touch on some unexpected stuff about the fighters themselves, the fun stuff.
Yeah, like why the odds look the way they do, what all this pre-fight talk about injuries and strategies actually means, how perceptions of fight one are so, different.
And maybe find some details that show you who these guys are when the cage door isn't locked.
Let's dive right in.
Okay, let's start with the numbers, the betting odds, because they tell a pretty clear story right now. Before anyone even throws a punch, Merab Dvalishvili, he's a significant favorite.
Yeah, big time. You're seeing lines like -320, maybe even 3/25 in some places.
Which puts Sean O'Malley obviously in that underdog spot,
Yeah.
sitting around +260.
And if those numbers seem a bit like, code, they're actually pretty simple. That minus number for Merab means you got to bet $320 or $325 just to win $100 profit if he gets it done.
Right. Heavy investment for the return.
And the plus number for O'Malley, that's the potential payout. Bet $100, and if he wins, you profit $260.
So basically, the people setting these odds, the odds makers who look at everything, styles, history, performance, they see Merab as, well, significantly more likely to win here.
It's their probability assessment boiled down into those numbers.
And these lines, they aren't static, right? They move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They start somewhere based on that initial read. But then, your average bettor puts money down. And maybe more importantly, the professional bettors, the sharps, they weigh in.
And that pushes the line.
Exactly. It shifts until there's kind of an equilibrium. When you see a line this wide, like Merab's -320, it suggests the market, after all that action, has really settled. They're pretty confident he's the guy.
It's a strong statement. I mean, favorites in the UFC generally win. What, 65, 70% of the time? Something like that?
Around there, yeah. But, and this is the crucial, but for anyone looking at O'Malley, upsets happen. That's the whole appeal of backing an underdog, especially at +260. Lower probability, sure, but a much bigger payoff if it hits.
That gap in the odds really sets the stage. It reflects those perceived advantages, maybe style, maybe momentum. It's fascinating.
Definitely. And speaking of things that might influence the outcome, let's get into one of the big talking points, the injury situation.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of messy, right? Two sides to it. Looking back and looking forward. Sean O'Malley first. He's been pretty vocal, claiming he wasn't like 100% in that first fight.
He has. I mentioned groin issues, ankle issues from that first meeting, and he's framing this rematch as his chance to fight at, quote, full potential.
Saying he'll be dramatically better. What was the number?
70% better. Also, more mobile, agile, better shape. Those were his words.
Okay, look. Anytime a fighter talks injuries after a loss, it makes you pause, right? Is it legit or is it maybe? Excuse building.
That's exactly the debate. That's where the fans really get into it. You see a lot online saying, come on, man, classic excuse. You lost, now you're hurt. Why say it now?
There is some history there, isn't there? He has fought through stuff before.
He does, and that's the other side of it. People defending him point to fights where he clearly wasn't right but still got in there. Like that fight he broke his foot and still won. Or the ankle turning against Chito Vera in their first fight.
Right. So he doesn't always talk about it immediately.
Exactly. So yeah, the timing feels strategic to some. Is he building a narrative just in case? Maybe. But his track record suggests he might have been compromised. It adds that little bit of what if. What if he is way better this time?
So that's O'Malley looking back. But then we have Merab with his own injury issue. And this one was pretty visible recently.
Oh yeah, that toe injury. It was noticeable. And he was, well, let's say, quite dramatic about it at first. Publicly.
Didn't he joke about wanting to cut it off?
Something like that, yeah. Which is, memorable, definitely dramatic.
But then he kind of walked it back.
Pretty significantly, yeah. More recently, he's downplaying it, calling it a non-factor. His coach apparently said the same thing, not a major concern for the fight.
So you've got this really interesting contrast. O'Malley talking about past, hidden injuries affecting fight one, Merab having a recent visible injury that he's now saying is no big deal.
It adds another layer of mind games, doesn't it? What's real? What's posturing? Are these actual physical issues or just psychological tactics before the fight?
You're trying to read the tea leaves. How much weight do you give the past claim versus the downplayed current one? And all this talk about their physical state, it ties right into how people remember that first fight, which is another area where people just do not agree.
It's wild. Seriously, ask 10 people how that first fight went. You might get 10 different answers. Was it clear Merab dominance, or was it, like, some argue way closer than people remember?
Yeah, I've seen those takes. Like, Merab had control time but did no damage. And the flip side, that O'Malley actually hurt Merab more in, like, one round than Merab did the whole fight.
Right. But then the other camp says, no way. They say Merab outstruck O'Malley while getting the takedowns, while controlling him, that he comfortably won the rounds on the scorecards.
These clashing views are perfect fuel for the rematch hype, though. Everyone goes in with a different memory, a different expectation of what needs to change. It makes you think, how did you see it? The way the judges did? Or maybe the way some critics did?
And when you talk about how Merab won, how he usually fights, that one label always comes up.
Decision machine.
Yep. He's got, what, one finish in his whole UFC career?
Just the one.
His reputation is built on that relentless pressure, the wrestling, just grinding out wins, which makes it interesting that he has mentioned looking for a finish against O'Malley this time.
Really? He said that?
Yeah. He acknowledged it's tough finishing elite guys, but he still mentioned it while also saying a dominant win is the main thing. So you wonder, does he stick to the blueprint that works? Or does he try and make a statement against maybe the most dangerous striker in the division?
And O'Malley, on the other hand, that's his whole game, isn't it? The spectacular striking, the knockout power.
Definitely. There's a strong feeling out there that if anyone can catch Merab, land that one perfect shot, it's probably O'Malley. He has that ability.
So you get this awesome clash. Merab's constant grinding pressure versus O'Malley's explosive fight-ending potential. With that little added question mark about Merab maybe, just maybe, hunting for a finish himself.
It's a fantastic style matchup on paper.
Okay, let's step back from the fight itself for a sec. Because honestly, one of the really fun parts of this buildup has been seeing more of Merab Dvalishvili's personality. Outside the cage, the guy is, well, he's something else.
He really is. He's got this kind of playful chaos about him, right? Like those self-defense videos he puts out sometimes.
Oh, the self-defense tips are gold. He has that talk, run, fight rule, which, okay, that part's actually sensible. Try talking, try running, then fight. Basic stuff.
Standard advice, yeah. But then the demonstrations, they are not standard. Like, his idea is if someone gets aggressive, just make a weird face at them. Or distract them and knee them in the nuts.
Or grab their shirt and headbutt them. It's not exactly what you'd learn in a, formal self-defense class.
Definitely unique. And his training quirks, too. Like, apparently he loves wrestling, like, 5 guys back to back, but then he hates jacuzzis because he doesn't like sharing the water.
That just cracked me up when I heard it. It's those little things, right? They make him seem more human. He's the machine inside the octagon, this unstoppable force. But outside, he's this kind of funny, slightly odd, but weirdly relatable dude.
Yeah, it adds a whole other dimension to him. It's not just about his fighting style. It makes you interested in him as a person, which adds to the entertainment value. Win or lose, you kind of want to see what he does next.
Absolutely. It makes the whole event more engaging beyond just the X's and O's.
So, okay, let's pull all these different threads together. We've got the betting odds, we've got the injury stories flying around, the big debate over the first fight, the style clash, even Merab's unique personality. Why does understanding all this actually matter to you, the listener, looking ahead to UFC 316?
Well, first off, those odds, right? Seeing Merab as such a big favorite tells you immediately how the market, which includes some very sharp people, views a likely outcome. It gives you a baseline, a starting point for your own thinking, even if you're not placing a bet.
Definitely. And tracking these injury narratives, O'Malley's past claims, Merab's recent toe situation, it's important because it's part of the pre-fight drama, the psychological game. It shames how you might see their readiness, their potential performance. Are O'Malley's claims legit this time? Is Merab really okay? It adds wrinkles to how you preview the fight.
And knowing about those different ways people saw the first fight, plus understanding their styles, Merab's control, O'Malley's power, it helps you anticipate the rematch, doesn't it? What patterns might repeat. What needs to change for the result to flip? Your own expectation gets shaped by all that background.
Yeah, can Merab just implement the same game plan? Does O'Malley have an answer this time, or can he land that big shot? These are the questions fueled by that history.
Ultimately, it's all these pieces together, the numbers, the controversies, the different opinions, the personalities that make the story around a big title fight like this so rich and complex, and frankly, so much fun to follow.
It's never just about the fight itself, it's the whole package. It gives you a much deeper appreciation for what's actually going into this high-stakes showdown.
So, just to recap,
Yeah.
we've looked at those pretty stark betting odds favoring Merab. We've dug into the injury stories, O'Malley's look back, Merab's recent issue. We've talked about how differently people remember Fight 1 and view their styles, and we touched on Merab being, well, Merab outside the cage.
As you get ready for this rematch, maybe think about this. How much do you let those betting odds sway your own prediction? Do you believe the pre-fight talk, the injury claims, the personality stuff actually impacts what happens when the lights are brightest?
Or maybe, given how divided everyone seems on that first fight, does it just boil down to who executes better on the night? Who shows up closer to their absolute peak, regardless of all the noise? Something to keep in mind as we wait for fight night.